So, good evening, everyone. I am the first reporter. I will going to report about psychoanalytic therapy. But before that, let's go first to our agenda for this discussion. So, we will going to discuss about therapeutic process and application in therapeutic techniques and procedures. What are the techniques and procedures in doing our uh, counseling to our clients? The third one is Jung's perspective in the development of personality. The next is contemporary trends about objective relations theory, self-psychology, and relational psychoanalysis. The last one is psychoanalytic therapy from multicultural perspective. So now for our introduction, I would like to introduce these men who contribute a lot about in regards of psychology. So his name is Sigmund Freud. Freud had many interests, but his career choices were restricted because of his family. So he finally settled on medicine only 4 years after earning his medical degree from University of Vienna. At the age of 26, he decided to become a professor or lecturer. So Freud devoted most of his life to formulating and extending his theory of psychoanalysis. However, as the time passed by, he discovered that he had this serious illness, which is he have a cancer in the jaw. So his remaining life, he used it to expand his knowledge, to make a lot of theories and methods about psychology and counseling the people. So he is also known as the originator of psychoanalysis. To distinguish himself as an intellectual giant, he pioneered new techniques for understanding human behavior, and his efforts resulted in the most comprehensive theory of personality and psychotherapy had ever developed. So here in our discussion, we will talk about a lot of models about personality development and how it approached the psychotherapy. So another one is we are able to share the summarize of the psychosocial development by Erickson's about his theory and also about the theory of Freud and Jung's. So here we were able to see a lot of key concept. First is the view of human nature. So a lot of things that really affect the human behavior, like irrational forces, unconscious motivation. So according to Freud, for the first 6 years of life, these are the thing that really affect our behavior. So as it is drives through the key of psychosocial stages. So the second one is structure of personality. According to the Freudian psychoanalytic view, the personality consists of three systems: the ID, the ego, and super ego. So here are they. ID is the primary source of psychic energy and the seat of the instincts. So ego, we already know the ego, right? So super ego. So super ego is like a conscience of doing what is good and bad, or doing what is right or wrong. So he is the one who manifests that decision. So in our discussion, we will also talk about consciousness and the unconscious. So when we say consciousness, your body acknowledge what you are doing, your action. That's consciousness, and we already know about that. And here, we have this clinical evidence for postulating the unconscious includes the following. So first is the dream, which are the symbolic representation of unconscious needs, wishes, and conflicts. So we have this kind, what we call daydreaming, aside of dreaming while you're sleeping. So just like you are not aware of what you are doing. Second is slips of tongue and forgetting something Like for example, a familiar name of a thing, like that. So the third one is uh, postinotic suggestions. Fourth one is material derived from free association techniques. And fifth is material derived from projective techniques. And the last one is the symbolic content of psychotic psychotic symptoms. So that's are the clinical evidence. The next one, we also have this anxiety. So we already know about what is anxiety. It's like questioning your existence, having this kind of negative feedback about yourself, right? So anxiety is a feeling of dread. So that results depression. So that's it. So ego defense mechanism. So we already uh, know about this one. So ego defense mechanism help the individual cope with anxiety. So this is our escape, no, as a human. So these are the ego defense mechanism. We had a lot of example here, like repression, denial, closing one's eyes, right? So reactions formation. So that's our example. So we have this projection, displacement, rationalization, sublimation, regression, introjection. So it's too long to discuss each in every one of them. So we also have this identification, compensation. That's all the example of ego defense mechanism. So in development of personality, so here are the methods of Freud's psychosexual stages and Erickson's psychosocial stages. In Freud, for the first year of life, he called it oral stage, where when you are still a baby, you are satisfied by what your mother have given to you. For example, you need a milk, he will breastfeed you. So in Erickson's theory, in Erickson's theory, he called it as infancy trust versus mistrust. So while we are still a baby, we already build this kind of trust. It's either your mother will meet your need, will satisfy your need. You're able to build a trust since when you are a baby. However, if your mother does not feed you or breastfeed you, it's just like uh you have this kind when even though you are a baby, you have this kind of mistrust because he did not meet your needs. So you understand that. And that from ages 1 to 3. So Freud called it anal stage, and Erikson called it early childhood, autonomy versus shame and doubt. So here are a lot of process. So if we will going to observe, uh, they have a lot of things that happen when we are young, and it really builds our personality. Depends upon to the persons persons or atmosphere we are belong when we are a child. So it really affects our personalities. So in the ages of 35 to 60, so this is Freud called this as genital stages. So continue. So genital stages is the core characteristic of mature adult, is the freedom to love and to work. So that's very practical, right? So Erickson, young adulthood, intimacy versus isolation. Developmental task at this time is to form intimate relationship. Failure to achieve intimacy can lead to alienation and isolation. Now, let's go to therapeutic process. So what is therapeutic process? No? Therapeutic process, this is the ultimate goal of psychoanalytic treatment, is to increase. So this is our goal as the counselor when we held this therapeutic process. Our goal is to to lessen the symptoms and to increase the adaptive functioning of that client. So, and our goal is also like what Ma'am Olive said, is to help them to cope to their depression, to their problem. So the next one is the therapist's function and role. So analysis typically assume an anonymous, non-judgmental stance, which is sometimes called the blank screen approach. As counselor, like what Ma'am Olive said, we are not to judge them. We need to give a blank screen, like showing ourselves as a blank paper where they are able to put their statement, their in Tagalog saloobin, where they are able to express themselves, right? So they avoid self-disclosure so that they are able to express themselves. So let's not one of our role is to not to be judgmental as a counselor. And another is one of our role is to help the clients acquire the freedom to love, work, and play. Other functions includes assisting clients in achieving self-awareness, honesty, and more effective personal relationship in dealing with anxiety in a realistic way, and in gaining control over impulse and irrational behavior. That's our function. We need to help them about that. And another therapeutic process. So that's the another thing that we used to do also as a counselor. And here are the client's experiences in therapy. So let's see what are their experiences in as they held their therapy to their counselor. First, clients interested is classical psychoanalysis must be willing to commit themselves to an intensive long-term therapy process. Like what Ma'am Olive said, at counseling is not done by 1 day only or 2 day session, like 2 session only, 1 session only. It done by a lot of session if the problem is very serious. So the client the client need to do is to commit themselves to that process, especially if the process is very long. That's their first step if they want to be better. The next one is, so after some face-to-face sessions with the analysis, clients lie on a couch and engage in free association. That is, they try to say whatever comes to mind without self-censorship. So when we say censorship, it's like the purpose of the censor is to check if there is negative weapon in your body, right? So without self-censorship, without seeing them or like you are like inspecting them. So you need to have free association so that they are able to express themselves freely, not controlled by the counselor. And the next is, clients in psychoanalytic therapy makes a commitment with the therapist to stick with the procedures of an intensive therapeutic process. So from the first day of the counseling, you are going to have a conversation, the light conversation until the conversation become heavy. So the client should agree to talk some verbal expression. They should talk their feelings, no? So they are typically asked not to make any radical changes in their lifestyle during the period of analysis or counseling, such as getting a divorce or quitting their job. They should stick to their normal schedule normal process of life. They should not do anything that will affect their mental health. And the last one is psychoanalytic clients are ready to terminate their sessions when they and their an analyst mutually agree that they have resolved those symptoms and core conflicts that were amenable to resolution. So that's the time where the counselor and the client were able to terminate the sessions because everything's everything are getting okay. Then another thing is relationship between therapist and client. This is one of the very important that we should build as a counselor. So contemporary psychodynamic therapists view their emotional communication with clients as a useful way to gain information and create connection. Analytic therapy focuses on feelings, perceptions, and action that are happening in the moment in the therapy sessions. So transference and counter-transference are central to understanding psychodynamic therapy. So what is transference and counter-transference? Transference. So transference is the client's unconscious shifting to the analysis of feeling. Unconsciously, you express this kind of feelings, attitude, fantasy, unconsciously. While the counter-transference is viewed as a phenomenon that occurs when there is inappropriate affect, when the therapist responds in uh, irrational ways. So, or when they lose their objectivity in a relationship because their own conflicts are triggered. So that's it. And now we have these applications, therapeutic techniques and procedures. So here they are. The therapy has more too limited objectives than restricting one's personality. The therapist is less likely to use the couch. So why? So in the first session, it's okay, as I read in our textbook, in the first session, it's okay to talk in a couch. No, so but however, if that topic getting seriously, it's better for you to be your body to be attentive. And also it's better for us to sit in a proper chair or in a in a counseling chair, like that what they call. So the third one is there are fewer sessions each week. And the next one is there is more frequent use of supportive interventions such as reassurance, expressions of empathy, and support and suggestions. There is more emphasis on the here and now relationship between therapist and client. They are able to evaluate themselves if the situation are getting better and better. Then the next one is there is more latitude for therapist self-disclosure without polluting the transference. Less emphasis is given to the therapist neutrality. So that's it. There is a focus on mutual transference and counter-transference enactment. So they should able to acknowledge uh, the the main topic and the main root of the problem. And also while they acknowledging it, they should aim their objective properly on what is the solution about the problem. The last one is the next one is the focus is more on pressing practical concerns than working with fantasy material. They should be practical in dealing those problems and having a idea which is very practical so that it's very easy for the client to execute it using by his own self. So we have this the 6 basic techniques of psychoanalytic therapy. So we have maintaining the analytic framework. So this is it talks about the contract, no, in having a counseling to a client. They should comply to what is needed by the counselor. Another thing is free association. It's a free conversation with the clients for us to build that that relationship so that we are able to get the information from them, for the client to be more expressive so that we are able to interpret what they're talking about, to interpret their feelings, actions, their message to us. And another thing is dream analysis. So it's just like uh understanding understanding the another strategy to know what is the root of their problem. So I hope I explain it clearly because I am having a trouble in in studying this report. There's a lot of terminologies and explanation that I just recognized just now. So the fifth one is analysis of resistance. So we need to analyze the way they resist, the way they defend themselves about the problem, and analysis of transference. The next one is the application to group counseling. Group work may recreate early life situation that continue to affect the clients. In most groups, individual elicit a range of feelings such as attraction, anger, competition, and avoidance. These transference feelings may resemble those that members experience towards significant people in their past. So what is the main problem why we have this kind of group counseling? So as it is mentioned in this textbook, it is because of the attention. They became competitive to the attention that they needed. Whose attention? Maybe attention of the leader or other person or other other people. So they have this kind of anger and competition. Group participants frequently compete for the attention of the leader. So that's what I have shared. And a situation reminiscent of earlier time when they had to vie for their parents' attention with their brothers and sisters. The group therapist also has reaction to members and is affected by members' reaction. So other people and even the group of people really affect our behavior. So the next one is the Jung's perspective on the development of personality. So Freud really expected that Jung's will be the hair of his psychological method. However, Jung's made a theory or methods that is far more better than Freud. So Jung's analytical psychology is an elaborate explanation of human nature that combines idea from history, mythology, anthropology, and religion. Jung made monumental contribution to our deep understanding of the human personality and personal development, particularly during middle age. So here are some of the theories. So we will going to talk about contemporary trends, objective relations, theories of psychology, and relational psychoanalysis. So first is self-psychology. Self-psychology talks about the genuine attention that the client received from the counselor. So it's just like we need to be genuine to the attention that we give to the clients so that he is able to express him or herself so that they are able to trust the counselor. The second one is the relational model, in based on the assumption that therapy is an interactive process between client and therapist. They need to build this kind of relationship so that they are able to to communicate and to express themselves genuinely to each other. The third one is object relations. Theory encompasses the work of a number of rather different psychoanalytic theories who are especially concerned with investigating attachment and separation. So it talks about the relation between two people. So this is about the attachment and separation by two persons. That's what they deal about. Your relationship to your friends, to your family, to your loved ones, to your wife. That's objective relations about. So for our summary of stages of development, oneself other patterns are established. So since when we are young until now, our behavior really built by the atmosphere we have when we are still young. Especially people reach for relationships that match the patterns established by their earlier experiences. People who are either overly dependent or overly detached, for example, can be repeating patterns of relating the establishment with their mother when they were toddlers. So it's still all about the past or the persons or the people that you used to be with to build your behavior. So for the last one, we will going to talk about psychoanalytic therapy from a multicultural perspective. First is strength from a diversity perspective. So this is the perspective that is built through our culture. So however, some of us is built in a positive way. However, some of the people is built by the culture in negative way. So therapists can help their clients review environmental situation at the various critical turning points. So their culture really matters to them. If the culture is really matters to that client, the therapist can able to help to review his environment so that the client are able to recognize and acknowledge that he is built his behavior is built somehow by his culture. And the second one is shortcomings from a diversity perspective. Another shortcoming pertains to the ambiguity inherent in most psychoanalytic approaches. This can be problematic for clients from culture who expect directions from a professionals. So these other people that really will really filtered all the information that they hear from other person or from other professional. It's really hard for them to trust other person, other opinion by other people. So that's the shortcomings of from the diversity of perspective. And thank you. So I hope I am able to explain it well, even though I'm having a hard time to explain it. That's my report. Thank you po.